Welcome back to the Djellab channel, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys are doing very well at home. Joining me today, two beautiful people, Patrick Van Straten and Henry Hill. Henners, how you doing?
Oh, I'm so well. Thank you very much for asking.
Patrick, how are you, mate?
All good, all good.
Fantastic. As you can see by the title of this video, we're going to be looking at some of the transfers that have happened so far this window and seeing which club is currently winning the transfer window, because that's how it is. That's what's the most important thing about football, winning the transfer window. Now, obviously, the Euros have just ended. The transfer window doesn't end until the end of August, I'm pretty sure. So there is a little while for a lot more moves to happen. And so maybe a club that we mentioned now might not be at the end of the window, and maybe clubs that haven't done any business will be doing it very, very soon. But currently, we're going to talk about the ones that have been active so far. And there's no better place to start than up in Manchester for Manchester United, because they have been busy bees so far. Currently brought in what it looks like, hasn't been confirmed just yet, but I'm going to say that it is. Lenny Euro is coming in for around, I think it's 50 million quid. Joshua Zirkzee's been brought in as well. And they've managed to get rid of a few players too. They've got Willy Camboala sold to La Liga.
They're very sad about that. Very sad. The fans were upset.
He did fine. He did fine, I think, last season for them when he was used. Got money for Mason Greenwood, which was crazy. But yeah, so far they've brought in a backup striker, a centre back, and they've still got a good 2 months basically of the transfer window. I feel like they've done all right. I feel like they've done well so far. They do need to do more. They need to bring in a few more players. DM, they probably need to bring in another centre-back. They probably need to bring in a right-back as well. Looks like Aaron Wan-Bissaka will be leaving. Patrick, how are we feeling about the Manchester of United?
It's all right. It's fine. They just need more and more and more. That's the thing. I think they need another forward. I don't particularly care for Zirkzee, though I could see him dovetailing with Rashford, Garnacho a bit better than Højlund, because he's more of a link-up guy. But he doesn't get a lot of shots. He doesn't get a lot of XG. He works very hard. The thing is, like, he was doing such a particular role at Bologna. You know, like the ball would go up to him and he wouldn't have a lot around him, and he was then required to kind of keep hold of it and bring other guys into play. That might work for United, because he is like 6'4".
Yeah,
he's a big guy, and he is definitely a good passer. He also had good output in that season that he was at Anderlecht. So he might just be able to play as more of a conventional centre forward, and the numbers pop. But clearly the scouts like him. I think the price is really good. So fine with this one.
Euro.
Because
there are some fans that are, like Liverpool fans seem quite gutted out on missing on him. Real Madrid were after him. PSG were after him. Has huge potential. Like, for an 18-year-old to have had the amount of minutes he's had playing for Lille in the league, in Ligue 1, that's very good for youngsters, developing them. There are positive signs.
You say the minutes he's had, but he's had like one season. He's had
18, centre-back.
I agree, but though we have seen that, you know, we saw that with Fofana, we saw that with Saliba. Like, I'd say they both went on to be good, but like, it is still one season. He looks really good. When you watch him, like, he's obviously got great acceleration, which is really nice. His passing is not much at the moment. Like, it looks like he's got a nice pass on him. That's kind of the thing, because statistically he doesn't actually do that much long passing. So it feels a bit highlighty. Like, are the highlights representative of his overall ability, or are they highlights? And he doesn't actually do that often. However, I think there's enough in his passing to think he's at least going to be a good passer, and he may be fantastic. You know, like, he's not going to be bad. He's not, and he looks good in the air as well. So this is all good stuff. I think United fans need to be wary of, like, going too hard on this, because I think right now they're kind of like, we beat PSG and Real Madrid to the signing, and it's like, by the look of things, PSG and Real Madrid left this to you because they wouldn't pay the fee it took to get it over the line. However, like, good right-sided centre-back, I think absolutely should have been more of a priority than left-sided centre-back. So it makes much more sense to me to pay this money than to go and get Branthwaite, even though I like Branthwaite and obviously Premier League proven and like
they still might.
Very
they
good.
Still could.
Sure, but he is But then you're saying, okay, what is the ideal lineup? Is it Lisandro playing left back?
Yeah,
if it is, then great. But like, what is the plan there? Whereas there is a clear, huge vacancy, right-sided centre back. The interesting thing is what this means for their plans going forward. You know, because they can't expect that Euro is going to arrive and be like incredible this season. Like, if they do, if he is, then great. But the chances of him being are quite low.
Yeah.
And
inside that struggled last year as well.
Yeah, so they've got to be kind of reasonable about what they're expecting from him. It at least suggests that this is a longer term plan. But every Man United signing, I think, in a way, we've got to wait with Man United till the end of the window. Because if at the end of the window they've spent like 150 mil, but they spent it on like 3 players, then I will say I'm not sure that that's money well spent, unless you're okay with kind of 6th, 7th, bar somebody exploding next season, like Garnacho suddenly becoming like, you know, Saka quality. Like, that's kind of what it's going to take. To me, like, I want to see the shape of their entire window to know how good it was, because I don't know how much money they've got available. And they do just need so many people. They need so many, like you said, backup right back. They need a left back because I don't think Shaw will ever be reliable again. Like, they need a DM at least. They probably need somebody else in there too. They probably need a right winger. Like, there are loads and loads and loads of positions here that need to be sorted out.
Well, seems like that Jadon Sancho is back on side now.
I love that.
Things have been sorted there.
Should we just
is it going to sell Bruno, play him as a 10?
I like that conversation between Eric and Jadon. Just must have been
squash this?
so awkward. I reckon it was one of those like no look handshakes. I reckon they were just like, let's crack on.
Henry, I feel like you might be slightly more positive around the Manchester United business. So far.
Well,
and is it to a degree because we've seen them do such bad business?
It's always hard to say because
over the time.
When they got Varane in, I thought that's cool. When they got Casemiro,
spent a lot of money on Varane.
That's cool. Well,
spent a lot of money on Casemiro.
They bought 2 of Real Madrid's multi trophy winning sort of legends, really. So I was like, well, fair enough, but it hasn't quite worked out now. And now they've gone like back to the drawing board a little bit with some of their signings. Progressive for the future. Completely echo everything Pat said. There should not be expectation on Xerxes and the little centre back to come in and be exceptional straight away. Like Xerxes, he's been through a few clubs now. You know, he's been on like a journey,
Bayern,
and it's always there's always a slight nerve-wracking moment for me when a guy goes to a club, finally kind of does well. And let's be clear, he was playing in a very specific Thiago Motta system. It wasn't as if he was just he was doing quite specialised stuff within a very specialised team. Like Bologna are going to have a tough time next season.
Yeah.
There's a reason that people like Calafiori, same again, played for a number of teams, suddenly fit into this very specific system, has done well. There's no guarantee that he's going to come to Ten Hag ball and it's all going to just be
fine and dandy,
cushy, and he's just going to bring in what he's been doing before into United. So, degree of expectation. I like the money they're paying for players. I like the direction they're going in with the squad. I still think like that you can get more mileage out of Mason Mount and people like that who suffered last season. Rashford, get him back to your best. There's just a few players from. Oh, I went very high there. There's a few players from last season. If you can just get them back to what we expect them to be, then suddenly, you know, such is the way of Man United and the flip-flapping of opinions on them. Suddenly they could be quite cool. But let's see. I think they got humped by Borussia Mönchengladbach in a pre-season game.
They also lost to
Rosenborg. They gave up 20 shots to Rosenborg.
Yeah. It was very young. Like, I think like the senior players were like
you gotta give them that.
Mason Mount and then a bunch of academy kids. I also think as well, it looks like they're getting rid of Wan-Bissaka and getting okay money for him to West Ham. Lindelof looks like he's going to be going off the books as well.
They bought him for 50 and sold him for 20. It's not like
Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, it's not a glowing.
But I do. There's an element where essentially just like getting money for them and getting them off your books is almost as important as half these signings you're making. So if they can do that, they've done a good job. Got rid of Donny van der Beek for €500,000.
Yeah, to Girona.
There's lots of add-ons, and I actually think I really hope it works for him. I really do. I hope he just goes to Girona, plays well. United will then maybe get there's 4 million in about achievable add-ons, and then the 15 million it's never going to be hit. Yeah. I actually for Donny van der Beek, I just want him to play normal football and sort of enjoy himself. 27
years old now as well, so got to start doing it somewhere. Just looking at the other guys that are gone, Martial wages.
Yeah, saw that guy.
Get that. Brandon Williams, and they haven't done Amrabat as well, which
Shocking.
is very good.
That's weird.
So far so good. let's talk about Aston Villa. Because they have spent a lot of money, about nearly 150 million on players, brought in Barkley, Baranche from Juventus, Dobbin, Illing Jr., Cameron Archer, Ian Maatson, Onana as well. Looks like he's on his way to Aston Villa.
The top 10 biggest spenders in Europe right now is kind of fun. Like, it's quite a random selection of teams. We've got Bayern, fine. Yeah. Then Lyon, Villa, Brighton, Chelsea, Juventus, Ipswich, West Ham, into Southampton. Like, you can't. That's not. It's got a random.
Classic.
But then you think, like teams lower down the pecking order are probably more likely to sign players who weren't at the Euros. Or at the Copa America, and therefore that might be like a little bit of a factor there as well.
I agree. I mean,
you can go and secure a deal for Omari Hutchinson, but you can't go and sign
also,
I don't know.
Was Real Madrid on that list, did you say?
Yeah.
Oh, they were?
Yeah, Real Madrid, but that's basically all money they spent ages ago on Endrick.
Yeah, but also the Kylian Mbappe money doesn't go onto that stuff, does it, in the end? But we'll get on to Real Madrid, because Aston Villa's what we're talking about right now.
So you asked me about Villa, yes.
How are we feeling about the villains?
I mean, I don't want to repeat myself for a future video too much. I like it. I think they're getting bodies through the door. I think actually Ross Barkley, at the small fee that they paid for him, is really useful given all of his experience, and he was brilliant for Luton last season. A difficult, quite a limited Luton side. Illing Jr. I've seen moments in interesting football at Juventus. I think Douglas Luiz is a big loss, but maybe if they just throw a number of bodies at that, they can fix it. Onana, if they get him through the door, that's a really good signing. Ian Maatson, I do like that at left wing back. Hopefully they upgrade. There's still like holes in. They've still got like 2 big signings I think they need to make. In this Villa side.
Striker, backup.
Striker, and a right winger. I actually think at centre back they're looking pretty healthy. If Diego Carlos, they can get a full season out of him. Konsa, whose value has probably gone up after the Euros as well. I think Konsa's getting better and better.
Tyrone Mings back from injury.
Oh,
he's not getting younger.
Tyrone Mings back from injury. So what a rush. But it's still, I think they're looking fairly healthy at centre half. I think the best thing for Villa is just, Emery looks so happy. He just looks like he's just really enjoying being there. He's got kind of blank check to go out and get a lot of the players that he, at the level that he wants. So I think Villa's business has been really good.
Sold right as well.
Watkins has sold really well.
Yeah. Watkins has been linked. Yeah, sorry. Go on,
No. They've sold really well. I think
20 million for their academy kid.
Well,
it depends what that is.
Well, was that a real price?
It's made up
but
money.
Douglas Luiz, I think they got top dollar for him. The Diaby one is slightly weird.
If that goes through, yeah.
Because if he goes and then they're like, right, okay, we're going to play Illing Jr. on the wing, or something, or Jadon Philogene from Hull, that is a significant downgrade.
Yeah.
Like, that is a big downgrade, undeniably, I think. However, I think Onana is a big upgrade in central midfield. I don't know. So there's a question there of who are their starting wingers going to be next season. So I agree with Henry. I think if they go and get like a winger, then like a really good winger, then I will be really excited. But I do think it's overall a good summer. However, I don't think it's weird that they've done loads of signings but haven't really addressed the areas people thought they needed to address going into the summer. People are like, right, okay, maybe they can upgrade one of the winger slots. They can get a backup centre forward. Maybe they can get a new right back. And these are the things they have not done at all. They've just done loads of other stuff, which is like totally fine. You're in the Champions League, make the most of it. Like, if you've got assets you can sell and have a busier summer than you expected.
Yeah.
Great stuff. But do try and do the stuff that you need to do as well. Please get a backup centre forward. The right back, I don't think
maybe he's just looking at thinking, oh, you know what, Konsa's going to go there for a little while.
That's fine.
Yeah, and that is fine.
But then I would also probably be thinking, okay, well, I don't want Konsa to be our starting like right back and our he can't be our centre back as well. We need someone else. So you can move somebody across, but then you've got to, maybe you're like, okay, Kamara is going to get more central defensive minutes this year because we've got Onana coming in. Fine. As long as there's a plan, and Emery's not an idiot, he will have some version of a plan. But I do think those winger slots are super upgradable. Like Bailey plus somebody else. Illing Jr. promise, but hasn't really done anything yet. Philogene, like big dribbly numbers, but like not a huge amount of end product yet. Certainly not at this level, obviously. So yeah, that's kind of what I'd be thinking about Villa. Like to be honest with you, the team. Can I talk about a team I want to talk about?
Go on.
Is it allowed? I want to talk about Brighton.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Brighton have had a sick summer already. So last season, like Belabor, by the end of the season, you were like, "Oh, this
Very
guy's
good.
looking really exciting."
Very good.
But what did they do? They went out and got Mats Vifa, like to play central midfield for them. Great, fantastic signing. Like 24 years old, so like young enough to grow with the team, but not so young that you're like, right, okay, we've got 3 years before this kid can like rent a car. Like he has everything you would want to see. Like he's actually got big attacking output, but like. He's an amazing passer, like loads of progressive passes, like really, really incisive passer, but huge defensive numbers as well. Like a good ball carrier, surprisingly good, like taking people on. Like he just does everything in midfield. And some of that is Eredivisie stuff. So like you don't necessarily want him to be like dribbling at people.
Yeah.
But if you park him in front of the back line and his aim is to pass the ball around, especially because how good their wide players are, like he should always have targets to hit and to mop up loose balls. And Baleba has a little bit more of a free role. Great. I think that's a great signing. And Minte, Yankuba Minte, could be one of the coups of the summer.
You reckon? It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
He was insane last season in the Eredivisie. And, you know, obviously now I talk to Ted Knutson quite a lot, but Ted, like, loves this guy. Like, loves him. And when you look at his numbers, or when you watch him, it's not hard to see why. Like, huge shot volume from wide. Huge XG from wide, huge expected assists from wide. He's in the top 1% for pressures. Like he's incredibly aggressive, like off the ball. He's in the top 2% for touches in the penalty area. So he's somebody who's getting into the box a lot. The idea, like I know they've got like Joao Pedro and they've got always a bunch of South American kids. But if you're looking at a situation now where you could have like Mitoma on one wing, Yankuba Minte on the other, and Evan Ferguson in the middle. And by the way, I don't know if they'll try and sell him permanently, but Dennis Undav has come back.
Yeah, come back.
After
He's
a really good loan spell. If you have like Undav or Ferguson in the middle, flanked by Minte and Mitoma, with guys like Joao Pedro in there who can, and you know, Buonanotte and Ciso as well, who can all contribute. And then you've got Vifa Belabor. Suddenly I look at it and I'm like, okay, I do have some questions around fullbacks. I think as there have been for quite a long time.
Still relying on Tarek Lamberty and who's the left back?
This is the thing.
Who's the Ecuadorian?
Estupiñán. But you know, like they ended up in positions previously where they've been like, right, okay, like Feltman, you know, like Pascal Gross playing fullback, like all sorts of weird stuff because injuries just like cut them to the bone. Go and get another right back, I think, who's a bit more reliable than Lamptey fitness wise.
Injury, yeah.
But otherwise, I look at that squad and I think this is really, really exciting. Like this is really tasty, and it'll be interesting to see what a new manager can do, obviously. But I'm really excited about their business. I think it's like really good Brighton style business. Yes, it's quite a bit for Minte, but given his age and his output, not really. And you're still looking at like 60 mil combined for him plus Vifa. So you've got a starting quality right winger, I think, and certainly a starting quality centre mid.
Yeah.
And you've always got assets you can sell. These are great. I think these are great signings. I just think Brighton, no one does it like Brighton.
No one does do it like Brighton. And again, we talk about them a little bit more in the video that comes out next week. But I do think they're going to end up back to the places where we're kind of used to them seeing rather than what happened last season.
Are we limited to Premier League clubs?
No, not at all. Because I was just about to bring up Real Madrid.
Ooh.
Who have you got? Henry's going to have somebody. Henry's going to be like...
I'll let you jump first.
I
You jump
like
first.
the stuff that Kayserispor have done so far.
Because after this, there's no more. There might be one more Premier League club. But go ahead, Henners. Go ahead.
Well, look, genuinely, Real Madrid, yeah. Endrick, Mbappe in that front line, cool. If they get Alexander Arnold this summer or the next at right back as an heir to Carvajal, who had pretty great Euros, then cool. Like, they are just at the very elite level, slowly churning through, adding players to that squad. Tony Kroos is obviously a huge loss, but they've had a lot of amazing midfilders who've had to share a lot of
plays.
they've had a lot of guys sat on the bench having to wait for their moments.
Yeah.
So these guys can just step up. Arda Güler as well. Yeah. What a star at this point in time. Going on loan to Nottingham Forest very soon.
I think that should happen. He had a good Euros. Look, if he hadn't had a good Euros, I think everyone would be like, "Oh yeah, I guess."
I'm just teasing.
No, but seriously.
Okay, I think look, Lyon have gone wild.
They have done some really good stuff.
Getting Mikhail Tadze is good. They're not who I want to talk about. I want to go to Serie A. I just think Serie A, the business that we're seeing in Serie A, Juventus, I think, are really on a comeback trail at the moment. To get Douglas Luiz, Kefren Thuram, Michele Di Gregorio in goal, getting up, like
Sold
replacing Szczesny. Looks like they're going to get Teon Koopmeiners very soon as well from Atalanta. That's a restructured midfield. They're going to sell Chiesa.
Rabiot's leaving by the looks of it.
Fine. Like, he didn't cost them any money when they bought him, so it's fine. That's a really fresh new midfield. They've got rid of Moise Kean. They've got 13 million euros for him, and he's gone to Fiorentina.
I'm not convinced these signings, like, I really love Kefren Thuram, but I'm not sure these signings, like, make them better.
Yeah, but I think with a new manager,
I agree they can get better, but, like, is the squad better?
I think so. I think it's fresh.
Right.
I think they've been rolling out the same squad for like a long time and been relying on kind of academy products to fill gaps.
But like Douglas Luiz, for example, is like a much, much worse in every conceivable way Locatelli.
Oh, come on.
He is.
Well, they've got now. Well, at least they've got two of them. At least they've got options now. You know, so.
They're like, we can go for this one, or we can go for the crap.
I think that's unfair. I think that's unfair. Right. I think Locatelli has not blown the world away since he's been.
Yeah, but I still think that. But Locatelli at least like looked like he could, whereas like Douglas Luiz will never blow the world away because he's just not talented enough.
I just you know.
You've always had a worse view on Douglas Luiz.
That's not really true. Like when he was at Girona.
You liked him.
When he was a kid, I was like, oh, this guy looks pretty good. Yeah. And his defensive numbers, his passing numbers, everything's kind of gone backwards since then. He's just become like safer and more conservative. And that's fine. Like, I'm not saying there's not a home for those people. I'm just saying that home should not cost 50 million euros. Like, that's my issue. Like,
a lot of money.
I'm absolutely fine with a team having this guy.
Yeah.
Like United, for example, could do with that kind of profile. Like, I just don't think that, like, he's a necessary signing for Juventus. Look, I think Juventus will improve. I like Thiago Motta. I think he's really interesting. I love Thuram. And they definitely, you're right, they needed to refresh the squad.
Yeah.
But you know, like, if Chiesa goes, they do need to go and get like a really good wide player.
The first couple move.
Because they wanted Sancho, right? And that looks like it's not happening.
It was the first couple move as well we've ever seen.
What? Oh, yeah.
Except it wasn't, right? Because those happen all the time in women's football.
Sorry, in
so
the men's and women's game.
Men's and women's game, like, simultaneously, yeah.
It was crazy. I've never seen something like that. Sorry, Hennes.
I think we agree, Pat, on
Juventus.
Juventus.
I think we always broadly agree. We just like have a slightly different take. Like, I like a lot of their signs.
They're also not done yet. Definitely not done.
No, they're not done.
Like,
they need to not be done.
Oh, yeah.
Atalanta, next team. Charles de Ketelaere, they've got him on a permanence from AC Milan.
How much did they pay for him?
22 million euros.
That's really good.
Come on, he's only 23.
Why have they sold
Did they sell Lookman? Did they sell Lookman?
They've not sold Lookman yet.
Okay.
Godfrey, 12 million.
Yeah,
you said the other day. Awesome. Ibrahim Suleimana from Cagliari. I don't know too much about him, but 7.5 million euros as well.
Probably
and
half decent.
They've got Nicola Zaniolo on loan. And once they get their Koopmeiners money, they'll probably go and get someone fun again, like, because they have draw. They're in the Champions League next year. People always go, they've got the transfer budget as Reading. They've got the wage budget of Reading, but they've got
a great academy as well.
Loads of money.
They've got absolutely fantastic Primavera, and also they're really good at selling guys. Like, they sold what's he called, Okoli?
Caleb Okoli.
Thingy
for like 10 mil. Like, they're really good at picking up reasonable fees for these kind of like squad players, and for then like loaning people, rehabilitating them, and getting them on reasonable options to buy. I assume that option to buy was sorted out with Milan last summer, because Milan, there's no way they can look at the Ketelaere's output this season and think we're okay with 22 mil. He was on loan. He was on loan.
Yeah.
Oh, so he joined AC Milan the summer before?
Oh no, he joined Atalanta last summer. He joined AC Milan
the summer before that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
AC Milan have made about a 15 million euro loss on him, not excluding the loan fee.
And they've had to see him be great.
Yeah.
Weird one.
And
that
then
one.
Finally, Inter Milan.
Yeah.
I just like
every season
Carlos
they
Augusto,
do it.
Fine, good left midfielder, 13 million euros. Apparently, they paid 8 million euros for a 35-year-old Arnautovic, which is a bit odd. But they've got Zielinski on a free transfer and Mehdi Taremi on a free transfer. Well, they're not going to start over Lautaro Martinez.
Man, strikers.
They're not going to start over Lautaro Martinez or Marcus Thuram.
They give him option.
But like, bodies, depth. They won.
Zielinski starts.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Oh,
And,
yeah, for sure.
Even like, Fratesi hardly gets minutes
That's what's Polo.
in that midfield. It's kind of neither does the Albanian guy, Aslani. He doesn't get minutes because they're so strong in midfield, even though they can't run out Mkhitaryan forever.
Yeah, I would probably get another deep midfielder if I were them, because Çalhanoğlu, Mkhitaryan, you're like that. Obviously, they were insanely dominant in Serie A, but when you see them in the Champions League, you are like, this is what I thought it would be.
I genuinely think if they just managed to get past Atletico, they'd have gone really deep.
Sure.
In that competition.
Oh yeah, they'd have been favourites to make the final, certainly.
So yeah, there's just lots of great business going on in Serie A. It's my favourite league. I think it's so fun, and it's just good to see. And even like Como are coming up and getting in bloody Varane and players like that. So who knows really?
They could have Hummels, Varane, centre-back pairing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I mean, and they
Weird that
I'm going to try and watch Como next week.
Weird that people want to go and live in Como.
Yeah.
they play in like a 15,000 semi-dilapidated
I've been there.
old school Italian stadium, and
Yeah.
Right by the river.
And
It's
like half the
crazy.
people in the stadium are going to be like Fabregas, Varane, Hummels. Like the stadium, like genuinely,
Who's
they're going to be like
the
8
actor with the
fans, and then
espresso?
they were like,
He's the actor with the espresso.
Clooney.
Clooney will be there.
Most,
Oh,
of the,
okay.
most of the people that live in Como are like reclusive millionaires who do not want to
Yeah.
be seen in public. Like that stadium is not going to be full of anyone.
I
So-
would go to that stadium.
I'm going to try and go in September. So if anyone fancies a trip to Como, boys, come along.
I would love to go to Como.
It's really, really nice. No, I think you're right. I think Napoli as well are on the verge of starting to do some moves too.
Oh, they spend a lot of money on a guy I've never really even heard of.
We
Oh,
see.
if they get Lukaku for the Osimhen
25
replacement,
mil or something,
then
yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
I also
Well,
think if they
Osimhen's-
can get the money that they want for Osimhen, I actually think that's good. Like, if I could keep Osimhen or Kvaratskhelia, I would keep Kvaratskhelia. Like, even just from an injury point of view, but also like Osimhen's a centre forward. Like, I don't know. I think Kvaratskhelia is more of a special talent. Like that's just how I feel about it.
No, I think that's fair enough.
Younger, more reliable.
I think that's definitely fair enough. Let's talk about Bayern München.
yes.
Because they have been quite active in the market, bringing in Elise, Paulinho. They've brought in Ito from Stuttgart. They've also got Zaragoza from Granada.
Yeah, they bought him in January last year, and they were I
They
think
loaned him out.
Well, no, he thought he was going to get more minutes. He was pretty electric for Granada, but they just scarcely used him. But he is super highly rated. I don't see again how Company's going to turn to him.
Okay.
I just can't
they've
believe-
also got the.
I can't believe that company's managing them. Like, I constantly forget that like Hansi Flick is managing Barca and Company is managing Bayern. It's so weird and stupid.
They've also brought in the young Australian kid Irakunda, who's supposedly highly rated. And don't forget the biggest transfer of all, Eric Dyer on a free.
Yeah, but that's fine because he was really good for them
I
last
agree.
year.
It's absolutely fine. They do look they're going to sell soon. Like they're going to probably have to sell soon. It looks like Delict is probably going to be that sale in some way or
I
another.
think that's fine.
Okay as well.
They still want to get Tara over the line.
Yeah.
And now it looks like Man United might try and like gazump them on that.
Yeah.
But like they haven't been able to thrash out a fee. If you miss out on Tar, who cares? It's not the end of the world.
But that attack, like that whole squad next season's like maybe right back. They still talk about.
Are they still trying to get Xavi Simons?
That's on loan supposedly, but no one quite knows what the Xavi Simmons situation is. Obviously, PSG.
You say right back, like Josip Stanisic comes back a much
true.
more elite player
True,
than when he
true,
left.
true.
Like Bayer Leverkusen were laughing when they loaned him last year. Apparently, the guy that runs, I think it's Carol, the sporting director, was like, I cannot believe that they've sanctioned this loan deal. And sure enough, he was one of the best players in a team that won the league.
And
So,
also, Davies looks like he might be signing a new contract.
They've also got
at left back.
But also, if they've got Paulinho coming in, it now looks like Kimmich might not move. Then Kimmich presumably is going to be back to right back, like fully back to right back next season, unless they want to play him as a kind of free 8, which I think he actually has been historically very good at too. But
The squad's looking mighty good.
if they had
The
Simons
squad's looking
or Olise
very good.
as like their two wingers for
With
the
a
next
Serge
like
Gnabry
10
and Salah
years,
on
like
the
that's
backup.
quite exciting.
No, I think
Plus Musiala.
Jesus. I think the Simmons thing, they're not sure because PSG's whole situation with Simmons at the moment is very weird. But still, I think it is something that's looking very, very exciting. I am with you, Pat. The whole Vincent Kompany thing in general might be the thing that actually slightly takes it down.
I find it so weird.
I do think it's very cool that
And Kane, who turned into a wardrobe during the Euros.
but he probably still scored 40 goals next season for Bayern.
Yeah, but it'll just bounce off his arse and go in because like, the bottom of the Bundesliga now is so rancid that, yeah, I think anybody can get 1,000 goals there.
I thought it was very interesting. Company brought in.
It's a bit harsh, but you know what?
Rancid. I thought it was interesting. Company brought in Rennie Maric.
Yeah, your boy.
The assistant manager. Obviously, one of the coolest stories about just like tweeting out the system and then getting a job from it.
Graduated from football Twitter into being like one of the highest rated managerial assistants in the world.
Crazy. And now he's a buoyed Bayern Munich fan as well. So he's finally got his move to Bayern as well. Good luck to him. So I think Bayern doing some good stuff. I did want to mention. Just for the sake of chatting about them, we speak about them in the other video.
Is it Chelsea? Who is it?
It is Chelsea.
Crap window. Rubbish.
Boring is the colour. What do you want to? I mean, what do you want to say?
Sorry,
about
isn't
them?
this who's won the window? Why are Chelsea involved?
It was about the. Well, I was just looking at the clubs that have been most active, and sometimes that's what like you speak about.
They are active.
They are active, definitely. They're definitely not finished either. The biggest one I want to talk about was the Estavo kid from Brazil, who joins next summer.
You're not even going to see him for a year.
Haven't you spent like 40 mil on him? Haven't you?
We have spent 34 million euros, but yes,
the best Brazilian
with
since
add-ons,
Neymar,
it goes
they're
up.
saying. Or
Yeah,
like that.
crazy. Messinho, they talk about him apparently.
Wow, crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Look,
Bet
we
he's
won't.
that good.
I will just say about Chelsea, if I'm like in your academy, if I'm coming up through your academy now and I'm just seeing you spending endless money.
It's happened already.
And your academy development staff leaving.
Yeah, it's like they've
Yeah,
gone,
Neil Bath
let's
gone.
not bother about actually building any young players. Let's just buy the best young players everywhere else and just forget that like we've got an academy that is actually capable of producing really good players so far. I think this obsession with just buying young Brazilians at the moment that is
Well, you mentioned the academy.
And some of those
flooding Europe is
the
ridiculous.
The ones who arrived last season haven't even played yet. So the ones that arrived this season, like David Washington, a man. Like, who else did you buy? You buy like
Andre Santos, Gabriel.
Yeah.
like all these guys. And I remember at the time, like you and especially Sam Basicki
I
being
was
like,
not
"This
going
guy
over the top."
looks crazy," and you're like, "I bet he won't play.
I was not going over.
I bet he won't play a minute." And what's
Andre
happened?
Santos, I
Hasn't
thought
played a
was
minute.
very, very talented.
You are
Well, he might
spending.
be. He might be.
You are spending a
it's crazy.
serious amount of money on players who A, may never even brace the pitch at Stamford Bridge, and B, just neglects the whole other process of developing players in your academy. Like,
I mean, it is also that's literally what Chelsea have done for years. But what I was going to say, the academy point is very interesting because Chelsea are about to lose probably their biggest asset in the academy, a guy called Rio Nguma. I hope I pronounced that right. He's only 15 years old. He's been playing with the under-18s. He is like, in Premier League academies, they are like, this is the kid.
He's going to Liverpool,
he's supposedly
isn't he?
going to Liverpool, 16 years old, 15, 16. He's a left winger. He's someone who like has been spoken about since he was 13 years old, that he is a stupid talent. So yeah, they are starting to. That is starting to happen.
Yeah,
your
that's
point
absurd.
is that
That's
it's starting
absurd.
to
It'd be like, it's like a potential Musiala loss all over again.
I always say the Musiala one is slightly different, but still, you are right. Like it is definitely having an impact on that front. Okay, any others we
And your
want to chat
reserves
about?
even worse than your first team. Probably not. Your reserves are probably batter your first team.
I will just say finally, I do think Ipswich have done well. I don't know how much. I don't know how much is left in the bank. But Hutchinson, 23.5 million. Jacob Greaves, 21.5 million. Liam Djellab, 18 million.
Interesting.
10 million on the Zurich. This is all in euros as well. Even Ben Johnson on a free transfer. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
They need to get a midfielder in.
Because like Ipswich, budget-wise, are going to be smaller than the other two promoted teams. They are having to sort of... They weren't meant to be in the Premier League at this point.
Yeah.
And yet they're still managing to add in smart, investable quality, which I don't think their value is going to drop dramatically. So I think Ipswich, like, hats off to them, because they've got a harder job than anyone from the promoted sides, and yet they're managing to do bits.
You are right. They do need to get another midfielder. Morsi and Longo are both in their 30s. And so, whole season of the Premier League just for those two midfielders will be tough, but they do need to get some midfielders in. Yes, okay then, lads. Why don't you guys, in the comments below, let us know who you think has won the transfer window. I know this is a bit of a shorter episode, but we filmed 2 videos today because I'm away for the next couple of weeks in America with Chelsea. But the one that comes out next week is like nearly an hour and a half, so you'll be definitely over the moon for that one.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you two very, very much. Henry Hill, where can the lovely people at home see your face?
Please follow me on Twitter or Instagram. If you don't, please do that. Pat has never
Follow me back.
Follow me on anything. I think. So,
Have I not?
Yeah.
I saw someone in the comment asking if you hated me the other day. I said, that's
Thing
very,
is,
very unfair.
because a couple of weeks ago, you two had that not an argument, but you had that debate.
No.
And the second they see anyone sees like a little bit of like a raised voice or like an argument / debate about football, they were like, these two must hate each other now.
It takes quite a lot to get me pissed off on one of these things.
I found the podcast, like the infamous podcast, where it was like rate £100 million players. Do you remember? It was me, you, and Joe, and it was just basically me and you just going at it for a good.
It's good though, man.
It was good fun.
Yeah,
I think sometimes it's
exactly.
boring
Like,
if we all just go
most
like,
watched ever.
Well, I also find that
agree.
on football Twitter, like there are so many people who just like they praise these players who everyone agrees are great, and they criticize these players who everyone agrees are crap, and like nobody really ever says anything. Like controversial. And I'm not saying, and certainly I don't think you should say something controversial for the sake of it. But people are really scared of like saying something like, "Oh, I think Rodri's like a bit overrated" or something, because they think they'll be like laughed at. I don't know. I just find that very annoying. Like, why don't you just give your honest opinion? And we always give our honest opinions, and it just so happens that like Henry's wrong about lots of things, and it makes for good viewing.
Well,
Yeah,
Pat,
good.
if they want to hear more of your honest opinion at home, what should they be doing?
Check out Unseen Incidents. It's our podcast. It's on your favourite podcast app. You can support us at patreon.com/PatrickVS. You can also check out the Transfer Flow. I'm on their podcast like once, twice a week. Those are now going live on YouTube as well. So, yeah, please.
Beautiful. I'll link that in the description as well.
Just quickly, this Monday coming will be my first appearance on the long-form YouTube Football Trending show. Please, I saw some of you in the comments have already been like saying, looking forward to seeing it, which I think is the most comments they've had for a while. So, so yeah, please do check that out. I think it's going to be like some kind of transfer special. So
Fantastic.
Get over and check out me and Ibby, who's a wonderful guy, chatting football on
Beautiful.
Football Joe.
Well, I will link that all in the description below, and I'll also share that video when it goes live through my YouTube channel as well. So that should come up on your feeds as well. But do all that beautiful stuff. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave us a comment, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much, and we'll see you later. Bye.